Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Hunting for Silver Linings. Today is Monday, February 1st, and I'm joining you from the Grand Rapids chapter of Startup Grind. I'm the chapter director. I'm in the Great Lakes region of the United States, in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Today, we are joined by my colleague and new friend. He said, one thing that's cool about Startup Grind is if you get a message from someone in Startup Grind, they're cool. So I appreciate that. So my new friend Laryx from Eldoret in Kenya, which is the fifth largest city in the country. And one reason why we do this is because one, we want to introduce our fellow chapter director brothers and sisters to each other. Two, we want to break down stereotypes of what different ecosystems have to offer. Because that's what we're doing. We're hunting for silver linings here. Laryx, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Corey.
Pleasure to meet you, my friend. And if you could get us started with a background of you, like maybe a little bit about your history, and then and finish with how you found your way to Startup Grind.
Okay, thank you. My history, maybe I'll just go to growing up, I was in the generation that was um, at the onset of computer generation, the computers coming in and not having so much computing going on. Yeah, but as I grew up, I knew I really wanted to do computing, but my country wasn't ready for computing. We were more of white collar jobs kind of thinking mindset. So that also propelled what I chose to do in campus. So the course I chose was business and IT. So in my head, I was like, if I had a little bit of business, a little bit of IT, who knows, I'd be the next billionaire. So that's how I chose my coursework. And going to campus, it was, I mean, for me, that was just a perfect fit. Well, things were good enough, but I realized while in campus, I really had the passion for entrepreneurship. I think this we were talking before we came live on this call. And I felt like I needed to combine the two, the IT and the business, for it to make sense. Now, one funny shocker that I got in life is that the world out there needs a specialization. See where you, I hope you see where I'm going with this. I have a course that has both business and IT, but the world needs specialization, and I like entrepreneurship. So guess what? I decided, you know what, entrepreneurship now covers both ends because you need both skills in both fields. Yes.
That's cool. And how did you discover Startup Grind?
So startup grind, being in the entrepreneurship world, in my city, I had a former campus mate who started a hub, a startup hub in my city. So I went to check out what they're doing, and I had the entrepreneurship skills with me. She needed the skill that I had for me to train her students. So it's called Eldo Hub. Eldo Hub, it's a hub, it's the main hub here in Eldoret. So as I was working there, we got to interact with so many people from different areas. As a startup, you get to network with people here, there, and across. So this one time, she went for the Mandela Washington to the US. When she came back, she approached me and told me, "Hey, I got this opportunity that somebody told me that they startup grind out here, but we should also incorporate it at the hub." But she was not able to work on the hub because she's the director and also work on startup grind. So that's how it was handed to me. I really had no idea what startup grind was. And don't even ask me how my first event was because woof.
Well, it sounds like um, I only discovered Startup Grind
Yeah.
shortly before I became a director, and that was just over a year ago. And
Uh-huh.
when I found it, I was like, where have these people been all my life? like
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
so it
Mhm.
was a really good feeling to be able to understand that there were hundreds of people
Yeah,
passionate about lifting other entrepreneurs up and building ecosystems. um,
yeah.
just it was really refreshing. So um, Now,
Yeah, I guess for you it's better. Sorry for cutting. For you it's better. You saw it on that perspective. You know where my city is. Startup grind. Okay, having a startup, a hub was something that was we were already comfortable with. But now startup grind was a new concept in the fact that we were now okay. The main idea was we had a network that was global, which is good. But now the excitement I had for it was not the same excitement my local system was aspiring. I didn't feel like I shared the excitement for startup grind as they did because the ecosystem and the people in Eldoret, they're those people who are slow to accept something. I mean, they just have to sit on the fence and see and try and figure out, are we, I mean, what exactly is going on before they really jump into it. So personally, I was excited about it. My first event was, should I call it awful or my learning curve? But yeah. Surprisingly, I was so scared holding that first event that it took the speaker who was to be hosted on that day to motivate me to proceed. I was so scared of holding it and having it, I mean, holding the event. At one point, I went to the speaker and told her, you know what? I don't know if I can do this. She was the one who held my hand, told me, you know what? Just put on things there, put on your seats, I'll be there. I mean, she was now literally pushing me. I'm the host, she's the guest.
that's
Oh, I always tell her that and she laughs.
that's a that's a powerful story.
Yeah,
Um, it's great when people when you are vulnerable like that and you find others,
yeah,
especially entrepreneurs, they're like, you know what,
mhm,
let's do this. I'll help you.
yeah,
It's fun. I remember the
mhm,
first time I had to pitch for money
yeah,
uh, for a startup. I
yeah,
was in San Francisco and I knew nobody. I was
yeah,
living in my car. I moved up from San Diego. And so I was
yeah,
sleeping in my car trying to raise money for a startup, going to these events. Just, I don't know anybody. Like, I literally know nobody. Um,
yeah.
and I had a whole career in like radio and broadcasting, and I was a nightclub DJ. So being in front of people wasn't
Oh,
strange.
look at you.
Well, but when it came to pitching, I couldn't speak. Like, I was in front of like
Oh,
300 people and I could not I couldn't utter a single word. And um, all of the investors in the panel uh, coached me slowly. They started
yeah,
asking me questions. They said, "Okay, don't worry, it's fine. You'll be
mhm,
fine. Let's do this together." It was like
yeah, yeah,
it was like
yeah.
I was a little child, and they grabbed my hand, and um, that's when I
But
really under
relieved when they do that,
yeah,
especially when you're vulnerable.
that's that's when I understood that, you know, if we share this passion for entrepreneurship, that
Yeah.
there's there's an element of humanity which is helpful. So like,
Wow, wow, wow.
I'm just trying to
I
take
didn't see a DJ coming out of you, man. That was a new one. I didn't see that. But hey, awesome to know.
yeah, yeah, I like to have a good time. So um,
Great.
well, it's great to hear about a bit about your background and how you founded the chapter. Um, and I saw that your last event was in December.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe tell us a little bit more about Eldoret and the ecosystem there. Like, you know, you're not the smallest. You're not
Yeah.
as small as you might say, right? Because we have
Yeah.
smaller chapters. What's Eldoret like?
Yeah. Well, Eldoret, the Greater Eldoret is quite big. It's quite vast, but mainly we are an agricultural sort of city, right? Agriculture is the core activity in Eldoret. But Eldoret being the city at the center, it's what you'd call like the hub that controls every other town that's connected to it. So you'd get people who work outside Eldoret but live in Eldoret, sort of like the cosmopolitan of the hub that connects everything around it. Yeah. So we are social kind of people, right? We still have the family setup kind of thing, the kind of ecosystem where before we trust in an idea, we all have to come as a crew, or rather as the entire family unit to agree to it. Yeah. And when it comes to startups, one thing I realize is what we what they're lacking, or what my observation, maybe I might be wrong, is they lack that practical person to look up to, practical example of a homegrown startup that started from the ground and you know succeeded within Eldoret. Most of the startups are always referred to Nairobi, 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 Nairobi. The only good ones would be, of course, from the farm area. And I don't know, maybe it's just my bias in my description, but that's something I've come to understand because I think there's a culture of I think the previous decision where everybody thought that the only way you could make it is if you went to the capital city, rural urban migration. It really costed Eldoret. But recently, with the change in God, change in thinking, there have been some great developments happening in Eldoret, where we believe in the next 2 to 3 to 5 years, Eldoret will be one of the capital cities or the cities that really makes a difference when it comes to those ideas that really, fits the country, ideas that are really connected to the family setup, right? Ideas that are not just for the commercial purpose, but the real problem, because we are closest to the real problems that affect our country, Kenya. Being in an agricultural area, food being an issue, if you want to access those who can't get water to their houses, these are where the ideas would grow out of. Yeah, and now it's just to cultivate that idea of being able to solve this problem, and you'll be as good as anybody else who's in Nairobi or wherever. Yeah.
So the kinds of innovation that you're expecting are
Yeah.
in that civic and agricultural area. What other kinds of sectors or what other kinds of industries are popular to be coming out of your area right now?
Of course, fintech. Since we have a very global fintech, I mean, M-Pesa is doing well. Fintech is a good area. Logistics, when it comes to moving of goods from here to there, is an area that is agri-tech, just because we have all the land that should make food around here. Yeah? So ideas around that would progress so well. And also anything that would empower those who the less fortunate, right? Anything that would make a difference to a community that maybe was never heard of before.
Mhm.
Solar, I see solar is also taking charge, because we have a good where we are exposed to the sun. So, and I see people thinking like beyond the normal, So I'd say those are areas that are quite ripe or been growing. That's what, yeah.
Okay. Um, and
Yeah.
so if uh, you mentioned that no longer are people automatically thinking they have to go to the capital cities to uh,
Yeah.
to be a founder or to start something. Um,
Yeah.
what is it like as far as developing the talent locally? So is there a university system? Are people graduating with a good understanding and have the skills that they need? Or even after graduating, do they have to find different programs like through the hub or through you to to close that
Mm-hmm.
skill gap, for entrepreneurship?
Yeah. Wow, that's a good question. Well, I'd say it's a 50-50 kind of thing. But we have universities that graduate people who are well educated with the skills. But again, this is my view. I don't want to put my city in a weird place. In my view, I feel like just the way you said it, people graduate and still go out there and look for skill development, right? So very few come out and want to go straight ahead and start an idea or a project. Yeah? I don't know, maybe it's because they feel that they don't have enough skills for that, or maybe it's just a mindset change.
Mhm.
But the many I know is they'd finish their campus, graduate, either get employed or just start working on the next skill. And that's one thing I've come to realize about this. We have developers, we have programmers, we have coders, we have people who have these skills. But what I always feel is they are always studying towards knowing the next new um, technology, before they really put what the skill they have to use, right? It's something I've just been observing because every other time, if, for example, Facebook comes in and they have a new something they want to work on, developers would dash there. If Google came with something, they'd always dash there. So I'm always left with, for how long do we have to always learn this new stuff before implementing what you already have? So in my view, I feel like that's an area that we're still struggling with. Yeah.
Well, it's not everywhere that you find that kind of curiosity though, and curiosity helps drive innovation, surely. But of course, you have to have the skills to back it up with. So so then, if I am a young entrepreneur and I graduate and I leave campus, I have an idea. You mentioned that with the family style of like mindset, I will need to, like, I'll probably have to have a really good idea to be able to that friends and family are going to be like, that's a good idea, and then support. Um, when that happens, so if I have all that, is it fairly easy to find like a co-founder or team, or do I have to look outside of Eldoret into a larger, like more regional, to build out my team?
Yeah, well, it's easy to get a co-founder. I mean, once you get somebody who you feel fits your objective and your needs within the larger Eldoret, you could get that. That's not a big problem. Yeah, it's for you to find out exactly what type of person do you want, what are they adding onto your idea. Yes, that you'll find.
And so I find my team. I can do that locally, which is nice because like they share mindset, right? And they share. They're probably easier to share vision and buy into what we're building. And then as far as like getting the first customers, is it is the area of the mindset of like, yeah, I'll try something new. It sounds like, it's you mentioned curiosity. So is it pretty easy to find early adopters for stuff?
Wow, that's a very perfect question for Eldoret. Honestly, no. Sorry. To be honest with you, no. Early adopters, Eldoret are reserved kind of people, right? It's very few who want. I even had my first events. I came to realize Eldoret people are so shy. Just you see that this interview we're having, I was having problems. Nobody wants to come out and talk about their life, talk about their business. As that, I found it quite captivating or quite shocking. I thought they'd be willing, like in Nairobi. I mean, you just hear on somebody be like, okay, fine, just set a date, I'll be there. But for here, they really have to sit down and ask you, why do you want to do this? Where are you going with this? Yeah. What am I getting out of it? I mean, who is going to see it? You see, it's quite structured sort of questions. Yeah. So to answer your questions, no, early adopters, you just have to dig deeper and find out who is willing. Yeah. But the good thing is, once you find one or two, it's so easy for them to introduce you to the next and make the chain easier for you. So that's the magic of Eldoret. Yeah.
Awesome. Exactly. So I've dug deep. I've found some customers. They're now introducing my idea to other customers. In order for me to build faster, I need a little bit of money. Like customer money is the best money, right? If we can just raise money for customers, that's the best way. But if I need to raise other money, is it hard to do that with friends and family? Is it like where do I go? Like how do I start?
Well, of course, they always say start with friends and family when you're looking for. They call it the 3 Fs: friends, fools, and family.
Yeah,
I don't know who the fools are, but yeah, of course. If I mean, if your family believes in what you're doing, I mean, they give you the money, they help you. I mean, there's that belief in what you're doing. If they see you're into it and it's something that you're pushing for, your family will help you, your friends will back you up. Now, if it comes to money from any other places, we have different funds organized by county governments. We have government money, of course, grants, and we have investor money that is here floating that is specifically for the youth and those who startups. So we have such kind of facilities put in place by the government, by different institutions. So they're accessible to Eldoret as a state. Yes.
And like, what is that like? What is that process? I was talking to the director in Tbilisi, Georgia, just I think 2 days ago, and he said that there were three levels of government funding for startups,
Uh-huh.
and like the first, like at every level, you have to go and you pitch. You're among a bunch of people that pitch, but it's
Uh-huh.
fairly easy to get through,
Mm.
and they have like the smallest level is like maybe 2,000 US dollars, and the next level is maybe 20,000 US dollars, but then the next level is like 100,000 US dollars.
Yeah.
So like how much or how far can going through the government or the public programs get you?
How far? Well, they always put a cap on how much you can get depending on how early or how promising your idea is. I know you'd start at about 20,000 or 30,000 is the common figure where you start from. Yeah. And then from there, they'd only add you more money once they see how well you spend or repay back the 30,000, right? So that they see, okay, if we've invested in you, how far have you gone since the last time we gave you this money? So the next level will be 50,000 all the way up to a million shilling. I don't think beyond a million, maybe 2 million. But now again, it depends on who is giving this money. If it's the government, they have their cups. If it's an accelerator, I mean, you know how they work, right? But I think the process is almost the same. Just give you a small chunk of the money to keep you moving, and most of them would want to see. They'd have to see proof of concept, right? They wouldn't just give you money because you have an idea. That is, yeah, yeah. An idea is not sellable as such, you know.
Right. Um, okay, so I've got my
Yeah,
customers, I've got my
yeah,
business, I've got some
yeah,
money from the
yeah,
from the government. Um, now,
yeah,
um, when I have something that's pretty exciting and it's working, am
yeah.
am I finding um, that companies or investors
Mhm.
from the larger cities or outside the region, are they coming to try to buy my company from me, or are they coming to support me? Like what is that journey like? Is um, does that make sense?
You are. Yeah, it makes sense. I laugh because I see you're trying to put me in a hole.
No, I'm
Um,
trying to. I'm just trying to. I'm taking
okay.
the story.
Yeah, well, so we have a competition here of this company comes from Eldoret, and their companies, you're competing with companies in the greater capital city of Nairobi. Okay, now for Eldoret, for you to really stand out, you know, there's this bias of if you're a customer and your company is from the capital city, that must be something good as compared to one that is, you know, up country, right? So the magic of Eldoret is that we are a big city within the neighborhood. Like the western part of Kenya, I think Eldoret is the main city. So your best way would be all these other towns that are surrounding Eldoret. And once the Nairobi investors see that you have a backing of the western side of Kenya, they'll have no option but to see like he's a great person. I really need to put it in my, you know,
Mhm.
treat them well. But if you just go like you, I mean, you're bragging you're from Eldoret against Nairobi. founded company, you'd really get the backlash. You know, Nairobi guys are always boasting because they're the capital. We understand. But the good thing is that if you make it in Eldoret and win all this, something that is easy to penetrate the market. Yeah,
Okay. Um,
yeah,
now, um, so I've penetrated the market. I'm regional now. Uh, is it fairly popular for successful
hmm
entrepreneurs to mentor other entrepreneurs? Is that happening?
yeah. Yes and no, because I'm trying to balance the fact that would be if you when does mentorship begin? Is it me as a mentee approaching you, or you putting yourself out there and opening um, yourself for, hey, I'm ready for to mentor somebody.
Hmm.
See, so there's that push and pull. I know successful people who they should be mentoring because I always believe that when it comes to let's go back to high school. If it were possible for those they'd be taken for case studies in companies in business areas for them to grow that entrepreneurship mindset, you know, as young as they are. Okay, it would be easier for them to relate to what you're doing, right? So my struggle in answering your question is I haven't seen somebody who's well, they may be there, but I don't see it as a path that is as straight as I could say yes, they are very ready. You just knock on their door and they're good to go. But if you search deeper and get somebody you click with and approach them, they're so willing to assist. Because I also have a mentor myself, and it's somebody I just looked at what he was doing and started talking to, and step by step we became friends, and yeah, now I'm under his lap. So it's more of you as a mentee taking the initiative. Maybe some people don't even know if what they have is worth
Hmm.
teaching somebody else about, right? Because they're busy chasing after the next big man, right? So it's for you to tell them, yo, this is your
Okay. Um, now,
yeah,
since we are on the topic of mentoring, um, your
yeah,
your flock of entrepreneurs that you tend to through the hub and startup grind, um, what
yeah.
uh, what has the last year through the pandemic, what has it been like
Mm-hmm.
for the entrepreneurs in your area, and and then after that, I'm curious to see like what is the mindset about how things are looking in the next 6-12 months.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could take us from 2020 to into 2021.
2021. Yeah, 2020 was wow. It really hit us hard. I mean, it was bad news because most of the startups or the businesses that were around, most of them were brick and mortar kind of business where you just go out there and need to meet with the customer one on one. So when the pandemic happened, everybody just shut down, you know, and yeah, it really interfered with everything they were doing, right? Now, when things started opening up, you know, you don't know where to start from. You don't know whether to go back because some of them had to close down. I mean, the rents were going high. There was no money coming in. You couldn't take care of your own bills. So when things started opening up, good thing the government had all these subsidies for trying to help people get back on their feet. But of course, there's a part of the customer have the ready money, you know, to buy what you want to sell to them. So it was a catch 22 of we are all growing together bit by bit. And if you had loans, you just had to go back to your bank and talk to them and find out if they could give you some good terms for you to be able to finance your debt. So I'd say it hit us hard. But with the resilience and curiosity, as we spoke of, bit by bit, we see startups starting to, make it through.
And what are things looking like for the future?
The future now looks brighter. I see everybody hopeful for this year that things will be much better. Only issue is we're having elections next year, so that's another slump. Hopefully, it won't be that bad. But for the year 2021, everybody now is back. I mean, putting their brave face forward, just trying to, to patch up where things didn't work out well. Plus, Eldoret is an athlete's town, so we are resilient as we go.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
and are there some examples of some people that have done a really good pivot? Some examples that you're excited about?
So far, I think, yeah, I saw, before most of them were mainly just a traditional way of marketing, but most of them now pivoted to having a hybrid type of setup where your business can be accessed either both online and offline, right? So customers could be reached wherever they are, right? I have a friend who used to do has a boutique and sorry, photography. So the photography was so, but right now it pivoted whereby if you're a client, you could just book everything online, and I just book your session, and then I come do my business with you, and then I go back home. So it's a it's a I'd say COVID has been a blessing and a curse, so to speak, especially for Eldoret. Eldoret, when it comes to the virtual world, we're still slow to accept, but COVID came and made us, hit us in our face and told us, you know what, we have no other way out,
You have no
right?
other way.
And this is quite evident. You have no other way out. We just have to accept that this is the way. And this goes as far as our parents and the family setups. They didn't really, the old age didn't really accept that I could give you money through, let's say, the M-Pesa platform, and I should trust that that money went through you, or you paid me, or you could pay me through your virtual platform, and this money will get to you without somebody just intercepting and running away with it, right?
Right.
So the virtual world made them now accept that these are things that can happen and should happen, and we just have to adapt with it. I mean, I found myself training them how to just play with Zoom, it was a must for you to be able to use Zoom if you wanted to talk to your child or interact with your colleagues at work. So yeah, it's a blessing.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, we sometimes, especially on this program, we we feel a little guilty being so excited about what is in the future, understanding how tragic things have been in the last year for so many people. But there's been so much innovation and opportunity for growth,
Yeah.
accelerated in this last year. So
Yeah.
um, now I'm wondering, what with your flock of entrepreneurs, what is the advice that you're being asked for at the moment? What's maybe some of the more popular pieces of advice that you're giving people?
Well, the most popular is, first of all, the virtual world has really opened up for the youth in my country, right? But now, what they need, or what I believe they need, is someone to guide them. Just in there making funny, crazy photos. Yet, it's a world that can really help you grow in your industry, and you make good, crazy money out of it, right? What's the reason why I celebrate going virtual is that it's cut out so much of the bureaucracy that especially the youth in our area used to go through. You had to go through somebody to get ABCD, but now in the virtual world, you just click on Google or just hit them up. I mean, nowadays you could even just WhatsApp a CEO and say, "Hi, could I come see you?" And they are almost okay with it. Before you wouldn't do that, you know.
Uh-huh.
It's the technology world. So my advice that I try to give them is that they should take advantage of this virtual world, right?
Right.
Not just for the fun of it, but to grow whatever craft that they have or they think they should be working. Because I see most of them on Instagram having fun, which is good. But doing that, right? You're good at this. People like it. People like it. What if you made the money out of what you're doing, right? The
Mhm.
good thing I see most of them are ready because this generation, when it comes to technology, they're very curiosity and they want to try everything. Yeah. So it's to try and package this to make it something worthwhile, not something just a one time snapshot and that's it. Yeah.
Um, now, when we talk about the curiosity and the excitement for being digital, um, with the global conference coming up being all digital and virtual, um,
Yeah.
are you is a lot of your chapter membership, are you getting some people that are excited to attend the global conference and learn, or are people still kind of focused on what's going on at home?
Yeah, it's a mix of both. There are those who are still focused on what's going on at home. And of course, when it comes to that, it's more of what are you trying to get the sales, the feedback, to get back to get their business back at work, right? So getting time for that, there are those who would, there are those who wouldn't. It makes sense. I don't blame them. But I know I'll try and push for it because I know it's a very good experience. It's one of a kind. They get to see. I've not gone to San Francisco, so I'm very excited about seeing that. And I'll try and encourage them to join in. I know internet is not an easy. It's not cheap for everyone. So I'll see what is where I could just stream all of us and just walk in. But yeah, it's more of what are you looking
Mhm.
for out of it, right? What are you going to get out of it? Is it something that would help your journey? You to tell somebody to show up and show up. They promise that to come and if, but yeah, I hope I answered that question somehow.
Yeah, for sure. At the
Mhm.
hub, is that a place where people come together? Like people can be face to face, or are you not doing that right now?
Yeah, right now we're not doing that. Before it was, we'd have to meet programmers who'd come there and teams who are taught technology and stuff. But right now it's more of just webinars. You meet online, teach something, train on topic. Yeah, that's how it works now.
Yeah, it's too bad we can't have like watch parties, like have a bunch of people come
Yeah,
and attend and see it on a big screen or a bunch of TVs. Um,
exactly.
so um, so one of the last questions that I ask all of our chapter directors when we talk
Mm.
is, now that you've done a really good job of introducing yourself personally to everyone in the community, and I think we have
Yeah,
a better idea of Eldoret and the region,
yeah,
and how you play within the other capital cities, because we've had other directors on from elsewhere in Kenya. Um, what what can the global community of Startup Grind chapter directors do for Laryx? What can we do for Eldoret?
I think let's start from here, and then just having that network of you know cross promotion is one thing that I think would be quite of help to Eldoret. Plus, having the opportunity to invite, if you have your events, so that I could show my chapter members, right? This is how, let's say, Grand Rapids people do their thing, right? this is how Nigerians do their thing, right? So that they have this sort of correlation that whatever we're working on, they're also working on. It makes it easier. They feel like it's a family of not just Laryx connected with the chapter different areas, also part of the entire global community. Yeah. I don't know how we make this come to be, but the main idea is for every director as they are holding the events, let it be like we are all doing this together, right? That togetherness is the least we could do since we are geographically located different places, but having that connection, chapter members to chapter members, that they could just reach out to fellow chapter members and, hey, I saw you working on ABCD. I'm also trying to work on ABCD. How do we correlate? How do we network? How do we make this work for this bigger group? Yeah.
Cool. Well, to that point, if there are directors that you haven't met that you want to meet, or if there's anything at all that through the Hunting for Silver Linings catalog of people that we've talked to that you would like to be connected with, anything that we can do for you or I can do for you, please never hesitate to ask. But it's been really remarkable getting to know you, and I really appreciate the you being so generous with your time today. So thank you so very much.
I had to. I mean, I mean, I rescheduled. I mean, this is good. You know, but this is my. You've now started my year. I haven't held any event yet, so you already got me onto the event. I gotta do something good and keep doing this, man. We need this because I was before I entered. I was just telling myself, wow, I always put people in this situation. I didn't know it's this.
Well, you're doing great. You're doing great. You're, you're doing awesome. All we can do is the best we can for
Yeah.
our businesses, for our teams, for our families,
Yeah.
you know, and thank you for being part of our like Startup Grind family. And
Yeah.
um and we'll be checking back in with you in a few months, okay?
That'd be awesome, man. Keep it up. If you say this is your first year, I think you're going places. I mean, you brought something. Yeah, you brought something fresh, something new. That's yeah. You know, once you're in this for a long time, you get so many things going on. You forget the nitty gritty is like what you're doing right now. So it's awesome. Makes the whole pot quite worth it. You know.
Yeah, you're right.
So
So
keep going. Yeah.
thank you very much. And
Yeah.
well, so have a good rest of your day, and so grateful to make your acquaintance, Laryx. It's really good to meet you. One day, maybe we'll break some bread together.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Bye bye.